announce an exciting new chairman of our efforts to bring World Cup soccer matches to Houston, I'd like to take a moment to thank our hosts, Jamie Roots and the Houston Texans. We wouldn't be here today talking about the possibility of a World Cup in Houston without the Texans' commitment to soccer. Jamie and his team paved the way, showing the world what a great soccer community Houston is, and eventually leading to the Dynamo's arrival in 2006. The Texans and NRG continue to be great hosts for major soccer events in Houston, including this summer's Gold Cup quarterfinal matches, which are here. I'd also like to recognize Edgar Colon and Ryan Walsh from the Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation. They're the landlords of the NRG complex and always great partners with whom to work. Also would be remiss if I didn't introduce our Sports Authority, my fellow board members from the Sports Authority who are here. I saw Joseph Collier and Willie Alexander. Are you guys, there they are. We got Marty Kendrick is here, and Robert Woods is here. Is there anybody else from the Sports Authority board here? Oh, thank you, Laura Murillo. Thank you, Laura. It's nice to have you here. So on to today's business at hand. As I think everybody knows, in 2026, the FIFA World Cup is coming to the United States, Canada, and Mexico. 48 countries will be represented, 80 matches will be played, 16 cities will host matches, including 3 in Canada, 3 in Mexico, and 10 in the United States. Each host city will host 6 matches, and we want to make sure that Houston is one of them. We're among 17 finalist cities vying for the 10 U.S. spots. And over the course of approximately the next 2 years, we'll be fighting to earn our spot as a 2026 World Cup site because FIFA will be making the final decision at some point in 2020. Hosting the World Cup will have a major impact on our community. It will deliver a significant economic return. We're estimating north of $500 million to this community. We'll provide our city with billions of worldwide impressions. Now, we know that Houston has what it takes to successfully host World Cup matches, but we intend to take nothing for granted. It's our job to go out, tell our story, get the local support we need, put together a world-class bid, and show the world what Houston has to offer. We look forward to that challenge. And as part of the effort to land the 2026 World Cup, the Sports Authority hired Chris Canetti, the former president of the Dynamo and Dash. We announced Chris's appointment in late October. He's now on the job full-time. Chris, alongside our new chairman of this effort, who will be introduced in a moment, will lead our bid efforts. And I'm thrilled that our new chairman has accepted the challenge ahead of us. Look forward to working side by side with him to ensure that Houston is selected as one of the U.S. host cities. For more on all of this, I'm pleased to bring up Chris Canetti.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Kenny. And it is officially day 7 on the job for me here with the Houston 2026 World Cup Bid Committee and the Sports Authority. I'd like to start off by recognizing some special guests that we have here with us today. We have 2 former World Cup team members and former Houston Dynamo players who are with us here today. From the 2006 World Cup in Germany, Brian Sching. And from the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, Ricardo Clark. Both of these gentlemen played a long time for the Houston Dynamo and were great ambassadors to the game and our Houston residents, and we look forward to them being a part of this bid process for us over the next couple of years. So when we typically think about the biggest and most important sporting events in America, we think about the Super Bowl or the men's NCAA tournament or even the Olympics. But in reality, the World Cup is the world's biggest game. Think about this for a second. More than half the world watched the World Cup in Russia last year in 2018. That's 3.5 billion, with a B, people worldwide who watched it on one platform or another. An astonishing 1.1 billion, again with a B, watched the final between France and Croatia, many of them being at the new Pitch 25 pub down in Edo. Now, in comparison, just let me put that in context a little bit. Approximately 110 million people watch the Super Bowl in America every year. So this should tell you that soccer is truly the world's game. And with the Houston metropolitan area being the most ethnically diverse county, we are a great fit to be a host for the 2026 World Cup. Not only are we a great fit due to the international nature of our region, but we have a lot of other positive things in our favor. Number one, we've got a proven track record of hosting great events, such as the Super Bowls, the Final Fours, and even other great major soccer events here at NRG Stadium. We definitely have one of the most premier stadiums in the world. We have 2 international airports, 2 world-class convention centers, excellent hotels, and a number of cultural attractions. We definitely have what it takes to host the biggest event in the world. Mostly, we have a community that comes together like no other to make things happen, and this is the start of that process. Our committee plans to leave no stone unturned, and the appointment of our new chairman, in my opinion, is a great example of that. I'm excited to be working with him on this very important project and look forward to getting the pieces in place and building a winning bid. Let's get it done. For more, it's an honor for me to introduce our newly elected county judge. Something tells me she's a big soccer fan. Please welcome Judge Hidalgo to the stage.
Thank you so much. It's such a joy to be here. And yes, I am a soccer fan. This past World Cup in Russia, I was not among the billion that watched the final because I was campaigning. And at some point, I tried to watch and make fundraising calls at the same time, and it wasn't working. And so I couldn't watch it, and it just was terrible for me. The time before that, when it was in Brazil, I was living in Thailand. And I was working at the time for a nonprofit that supported journalists and bloggers and artists and supporting their work to make sure that we're promoting free expression throughout the region. So as you can imagine, the time difference between Thailand and Vietnam and Myanmar, where I was working, and Brazil was pretty serious. So I somehow figured out a way to stream the games, to pay to stream the games, and I'm still subscribed to the streaming service because it's in Thai and I can't find the unsubscribe button, so I get those emails. And so I would set my alarm clock at 3 and 4 in the morning to watch the games. I can't think of a more wonderful international event. It's really right up there with the Olympics, especially these days when we have, as always, really international strife and tensions. What an opportunity, what a joy to bring the world together in support, in advancement of sport, of cooperation, of friendly competition, and for Houston and Harris County to be at the heart of that. So I am so grateful to everyone in this room and everyone who's worked and is working at putting this bid together, and the Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation, Edgar Colon, our partners at the Houston Sports Authority. Thank you all so much. Of course, the facility was built, NRG Park and all of our facilities were built and designed with these kinds of events in mind. So we're more than ready. And I've got some information, and I know it because I've watched some of these events, but it's 34 international soccer matches drawing more than 1.5 million fans. We've had men's national teams from 16 countries, Mexican national team on 17 different occasions. Of course, 2 Super Bowls, 2 NCAA men's Final Four championships. We can do this. It's clear that we want to do this. I think it's going to be great for our region. It's going to be great for making sure we bring this incredible experience to our community. And Harris County, Houston, 145 languages spoken. Our community reflects the spirit of the World Cup. It reflects the spirit of cooperation, of working together, and an example, really, for the country and the world. So I'm so proud of this bid, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing it through. Thank you all so much. And now I believe I'm inviting up to the stage our mayor, Sylvester Turner, here to join us.
And just say to the county judge, look forward to working with her and collaborating with the county as we move forward to host the 2026 World Cup. I think it's going to be another exciting time. And so County Judge, with Houston and Harris County working together, I think I know it's always a very winning combination. Let me just say to Kenny and to those with Houston First, with the Houston Sports Authority, Janice, who is just terrific, to all of you are here. What another exciting day, and what a way to start 2020. I started to say 2029, but 2019. And I'm here with City Council member Dwight Borkins from District D, and so it's just good to have everyone here. We all remember how successful Super Bowl 51 was, and I remember it as if it was yesterday, and the positive value it brought to our city, and that was a game over 10 days. We had 150,000 visitors, and the economic impact to our city was something like $347 million. A World Cup host city would have 6 games over 32 days. Can you imagine 6 Super Bowls in 1 month? Simply incredible. And that would mean thousands of visitors and a larger economic impact than Super Bowl 51. In addition, it would mean billions of worldwide impressions that enhance our diverse city's global brand. And we keep saying, Susan Krishna, Special Events, we keep saying that Houston is the most diverse city in the United States, but quite frankly, most people don't think that. But when you have all of these people coming from all over the globe, coming to the city of Houston, coming to Harris County, the billions of impressions, we can showcase our city on a global scale. And bidding on this is just a natural fit. Houston is a world-class sports city, and we have a proven record hosting major events. Quite frankly, that is simply what we do. I was talking to Ricardo there, and he's from Atlanta. You know, I asked him, which city do you prefer, Atlanta or Houston? And then I told him, don't answer that. But Atlanta doesn't have anything on the city of Houston when it comes to hosting special events. And today we want to announce that we are bringing on a great captain and a true leader to help guide our bid committee, and that person is none other than John Arnold. John is one of Houston's most successful businessmen and a thoughtful and generous philanthropist. He has been selective in choosing his initiatives. He just doesn't say yes to everything. I know that because I've asked him for a few things myself. But on this one, he said yes to. Actively involved in criminal justice reform, health care, and for the Laurel and John Arnold Foundation, their interests have just been across the board. And we are thrilled that he has agreed to step into the role of chairman of the Houston 2026 World Cup Bid Committee. John's passion for business and philanthropy is matched only by his passion for soccer. I didn't know this, but as I was going through it, Judge, he has been to every World Cup since 1994. And that was the last time it was held in the United States. So he is simply the perfect fit at the perfect time for the perfect region to lead this effort. And ladies and gentlemen, I am thrilled to present to you John Arnold, the captain of the ship on this deal.
Thank you for that very warm introduction, Mayor Turner. First, I want to start off and thank Chris Canetti, who left his dream job to join this effort. There's nobody more qualified to take this role than Chris. Nobody in the world knows more about Houston soccer than Chris. Second, I'd like to thank Kenny Friedman, Janice Burke, and the rest of the Harris County Houston Sports Authority for all their effort in this. I moved to Houston in 1995, and that was a dark decade for Houston sporting infrastructure. If you remember, we had two professional venues, the Astrodome and the Summit. They were both at the end of their useful life. That decade, Houston did not host one major national sporting event. And since 2000, the Sports Authority has built 4 world-class venues, and they've hosted and been instrumental in bringing a Super Bowl, a Final Four, Major League Baseball All-Star Game, NBA All-Star Game, another Super Bowl, another Final Four, all to the city of Houston. These are the biggest sporting events in America. But today, we're here to announce a push to bring the biggest sporting event in the world to Houston. I'm honored to have been asked to chair the bid for the Houston 2026 World Cup Bid Committee. I first fell in love with soccer as a 5-year-old playing on the fields in my hometown of Dallas. And I played the sport for the rest of my life up until a few years ago when my knees finally told me that it was time to call it quits. But I first fell in love with the World Cup back in 1990. The World Cup that year was hosted in Italy, and at the time, there was still very much a niche sport in America, both the World Cup as well as top-level soccer. So there were only a few games in English on TV, and those were on cable, and my family didn't have cable growing up, so I was forced to watch it on Univision. Luckily, I got the cheer of Andres Cantor's famous goal call. That was the one word of Spanish I knew. 4 years later, the United States hosted it. And FIFA was prescient enough to believe that if they introduced soccer to a broader swath of America, that America would fall for the sport. So I went to my first game. I still remember it, Nigeria 3, Bulgaria 0, back in Dallas in 1994. Even by soccer standards, that's not a marquee matchup. But I remember being in that stadium and just feeling the electricity around, the electricity of the city. It's a sport and a contest that brings together not only the neighborhoods within the city, but brings together the globe. And I knew that I wanted to experience that again. So 4 years later, I went to the 1998 World Cup in France. Then 4 years later, in South Korea and Japan. Then 2006 in Germany. 2010 in South Africa, 14 in Brazil, and last year in Russia. In 2022, I'll be in Qatar, and in 2026, it'll come full circle for me, with the United States hosting the World Cup again, with the World Cup returning to Texas, and with the World Cup returning to my city, although this time in Houston. So this is going to be a competitive process. There are 17 cities that are competing for 10 spots, but the same reason why the NFL chose to bring the Super Bowl back so quickly, the same reason that the NCAA chose to bring the Final Four back so quickly, is why I'm confident in the success of this bid. Frankly, Houston has succeeded or exceeded expectations every time it has hosted a major sporting event. We have great infrastructure, a vibrant fan zone surrounded by hotels, easy transportation to a game, a world-class facility that's guaranteed to be 72 degrees at kickoff in summer, and most importantly, Houston hospitality. Houston is a city with global presence. It's the most diverse big city in America, and that's what soccer is, diverse and global. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this effort, and I pledge to the Houston Sports Authority, to Chris Kennedy, to Mayor Turner, to Judge Hidalgo, and to the citizens of Houston to do everything I can to make this a success and bring the World Cup to Houston in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John, and we look forward to what the future will bring under your leadership. Let me just say before we leave, there's one more thing to announce. We all know Houston is an incredible soccer city. In fact, the high school in Alief, I want to say Elsick, is the national high school soccer champions right here in the city of Houston. So it's just a fitting place for soccer. But I'm also here to announce a special soccer event coming to Houston this year. We are proud to have the United States men's national team coming to BBVA Campus Stadium on Tuesday, March 26th, when they take on Chile. This will mark the first time since 2012 that the U.S. men's team has played at BBVA Campus. And as we embark on this 2026 World Cup bid process, it is imperative that the community support all soccer events in the city of Houston, all of them. And let's get behind this big game, and that's the United States men's national team coming to BBVA Campus Stadium Tuesday, March 26th. And now let me bring back Chris Canetti for a few final words as we move forward into 2019. Happy New Year, everyone.
So thanks again, everybody. We appreciate it, and we look forward to beginning this process of securing Houston as a 2026 World Cup host site. Thank you very much.